Hi everyone, Shanna with Apogee the Moon bringing you a weekly forecast for December 7th through December 13th. And yeah, the energy of this week is going to be a combination, I think. Definitely some interesting mix of energies. So I will share my screen and we can jump into the general energy of the week. So on Tuesday, which is the 8th, which is the first exact aspect that comes around for the week, really is the Sun squaring Neptune. So be aware that squares to Neptune can cause fogginess, disillusionment. This can be deception, either intentional or unintentional. This can be even us deceiving ourselves unintentionally, thinking something is one way when down the road we're going to see that it's really a different way. This is, the Sun is in Sagittarius, which is focused on the big picture and, the soapbox kind of mentality of established beliefs and living, or established beliefs and ways of living, coming up against, Neptune and Pisces. And Neptune and Pisces is really the collective energies of humanity. And so this square with the Sun to Neptune and Pisces, this is sensing more undercurrents and I would say like the pulse of humanity as a whole. It's also Neptune and Pisces also rules media. A lot of interesting media things going on this year. So the Sun in square with Neptune alone, just doesn't matter if it's in these signs or not, is a tough one because we can, like I said, deceive ourselves or deceive others intentionally or unintentionally. I'm not saying that, you're going to lie to somebody just because you can. Obviously there's some people that will do that. But a lot of the time it's unintentional because you have it in your head one way or you believe something to be one way when the reality of it is completely different than what you're thinking. So beware the lies and the deception of the mass media this week especially is going to get heightened. And beware, the lies and deceptions of any institutions that don't have your best interest or your best health practices at heart, because they're going to fuel their own agenda. And this can also see the news media spouting, stuff about the inoculation schedule or the efficacy or the accuracy at which things are not really that way. I don't really want to say things too clearly because I don't want to get censored. I'm just starting this channel. But really, this is like the agendas of others that are not necessarily congruent with your own well-being or your own wellness in your head, like your mindset and your attitudes on life. This can definitely see outright lies from the news media, just plain and simple, and cancel culture, amping it up a few notches. And this is energy that's been building. So as you approach come exact, and then as it separates, there's still going to be that, the thing is building, the thing finishes happening, and then the coming down of the wave. Like it's like a wave, right? Like it's like a wave of energy. So next week it could peak. And we're not really getting a clear picture of what everything is that's happening right now because we are in the middle of eclipse season and because we're leading up to that total solar eclipse that's happening on the 14th, or 15th, I think, depending on where you are in the world. For me, it's happening on the 14th, so that's when I'm going to talk about it. So then we'll go into Thursday, December 10th, and Venus is forming its first sextile to the stellium in Capricorn. So the first sextile is going to happen with Pluto. And right now, I mean, Venus in the sign of Scorpio, she's not at her best. This is her, this is not a good house. Sorry, good house. This is not a good sign for her. This is, the opposite sign of one that she rules. So she's in fall or detriment, or, she's just handicapped in some way. She's not functioning at her best. But Venus in Scorpio is very perceptive. It's deeply perceptive. It's edgy. It's, she's making a sextile to Pluto, which is the ruler of Scorpio, one of the rulers of Scorpio. And, she's very much like, get to the root of what's going on. And Pluto is supporting her in that. So, this can be good for business, because Pluto in Capricorn offers some very grounded, practical advice with business, because Capricorn is a sign that, rules CEOs and things like that. So, and corporations and governments and all that, to a certain extent. And Pluto in Capricorn is very much, Pluto is yeah. So on this day, though, if you're negotiating in business, this day specifically would be a good day for negotiating, because your perception of others' selves, of others' motivations, of others' hidden agendas, because it's, Scorpio is the things that are hidden. This will work in your favor, because Venus is very, like I said, very perceptive in Scorpio, and it's not about she's not about the light conversation or the shallow conversation, right? I mean, any planet that is moving through Scorpio or making aspects to Pluto, even, it wants to get deep. It wants to find that grain of truth in that well-told lie, right? That's how I like to talk about Pluto. It's finding that grain of truth in the well-told lie. Pluto and Scorpio. So in relationships, this definitely is not one for frivolous surface level interactions. This is more, you want to get deep, you want to get intense. This is very much finding someone that will be completely open and honest with you, and you being completely open and honest with them. So it's not an aspect for looks alone. So if that's something that you're looking for, that you're not going to find it this week. And then moving on to Friday, on December 11th, we have the sun coming into a trine with Mars. So this is offering support and energy towards moving forward, because Mars is now direct, right? Like he's been in Aries for months and months and months. Like it seems like he hasn't moved out of Aries for like a whole year, but really it's only been a few months, right? So since I think July, the end of July. But this trine aspect with the sun, this is an easy flow of energy between the sun and Mars, and harnessing this energy, because people generally take trines for advantage. Yeah, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Like you take it for granted. There we go. You can take things for granted with trines, because it's not it's an easy flow, so you don't necessarily take action, whereas if you did take some type of action, it would be more beneficial for you. So this can see people, especially, standing their ground, leading the way forward, into a new paradigm, into a new way of being. This is very much the sun rules Leo. Leo are like the kings and queens. These are people that are very like boss energy, right? Like they want to shine, they want to be in the limelight, they want to take the lead position. Mars is the same thing. You know, Mars is very much action oriented though, and getting things done and moving forward. And so this like the term that I like to use is boss up. And this is definitely a boss up energy. And I would definitely associate that specific boss up with this Sun trine Mars. So this is harnessing your drive, harnessing your ambition, harnessing your passion for what it is that you truly want to accomplish in the world. And being that it's a harmonious aspect, this is one that will allow you to accomplish what it is that you're seeking to accomplish without risking the integrity of anyone else, including yourself. So this is you not stepping on other people, because sometimes when Mars is involved, it can see people being very cutthroat. This is not necessarily that energy. This is very much everyone working together as a team, everybody working together in, you know, a cohesive, easy flow of energy of you have this job, you have this job, you have this job, let's get it done, let's move forward. You know, this isn't like an argumentative or dispute type energy. So there is that. So on this day though, the sun is coming into an exact conjunction with the south node at 19 degrees of Sagittarius. So this is an activation point of the eclipses, right? So anytime you have a planet that crosses the nodes of the moon when you're in eclipse season, or, you know, if the nodes when they're moving through the zodiac, if they hit an eclipse point, and a planet hits them exactly, or a planet hits the eclipse point, there's an activation of destiny, right? So it can feel fated, it can feel karmic, it can be something from the past that's coming back to tie up loose ends, either, you know, the past from a couple of years ago, the past from, you know, early childhood, the past from past lives. This can see that karmic knot showing up to be either completely undone and let go of, or those loose ends getting tied up and done, put to bed, right? So this is something, you know, the sun hitting the south node is activating what needs to be let go of out of our lives for good, like it's not coming back, it's done, or a past opportunity that's coming forward for you now, for you to take action on. So then on December 13th, which is Sunday, Mercury actually does hit that square to Neptune. This is, you know, as I put in my written forecast, daydreams and rainbows for days. This is an escapist energy. The harsher realities of life and the things that are going on are taking their toll on everyone right about now. People are ready to check out. They're ready to be done. You know, they're ready to be back to normal, which, you know, once everybody stands up at once to be counted, then, you know, there's going to be things that are going to be taken advantage of. So anyway, you know, the harsher realities of life, this could see people, you know, being undermined intellectually as well, and made to feel inferior. This could be something, maybe you're given a piece of information or something like that that's kind of clouding your rational judgment, where you don't really know what to think about it because you don't necessarily have all the details, because Mercury and Sag, you know, it's in its detriment there. It's Mercury likes the details. Mercury is very linear, and, you know, and Sagittarius is more of that grandiose, kind of blown out of proportion, big deal kind of thing. And, you know, this could cloud your rational judgment, and like you may be drinking on this day, you know, drugs, alcohol, binge watching TV, you know, film. that type of thing. The knowing better, because we're living and breathing and thinking creatures, though. But this is, I hate squares to Neptune. I personally have some squares to Neptune in my chart, and I it's very confusing. It's very foggy. You don't have all the information. The disillusionment is a thing. You know, and this energy specifically, you know, is, I mean, this is like the undermining of the established media censorship kind of crap, where people are really going to start doubting themselves with that Mercury coming into a square. And it just, I don't like it. I don't like this energy. You know, you just need to remember that the real, true, deep life experience sometimes, and the things that you have experienced throughout your lifetime, the knowledge that you have gained from the experience of growing as a person, can be more valuable and more accurate than what it is that you're being told in the moment from somebody that, you know, went to school and studied from a book for, you know, 8 years. That doesn't make them necessarily an expert. There's a difference between how things look on paper and what actually physically happens in the real world. So, you know, life happens, and, you know, just make sure that you're keeping a knowing sense of, this is what I know to be true, and take everything else with a grain of salt on this day, because there's definitely going to be subversive tactics, you know, trying to undermine your intelligence, trying to undermine your train of thought, undermine the way that you're thinking about things in the world. And there are people that will exploit that kind of energy. So that's the general. So now I want to talk about each sign, and there we go. So for Aries and for Aries rising, the sun squaring Neptune is happening in your 9th house to your 12th house. So this can definitely be I hate this for Aries people. So this can definitely be lies and deceptions. People telling you that you need to do this, you need to do that. And this is 9th house is, you know, higher educated people. 12th house is hospitals. We'll just leave it at that. And we'll say that, you know, maybe you need to actually get in tune with and listen to your body and understand what's going on with your body, and not necessarily listen to someone that's trying to tell you that you need to get a plethora of injections, because they are definitely are kind of, they are either being deceived and inadvertently deceiving you, or they are just being blatantly deceptive to you. So that's what that can be. This also, the sun does rule your 5th house of children, so be aware that this could be, if you're older and you have children, this could either be your children, you know, being lied to with those 12th house institutions, or this could be, you know, them lying to you if they're going to school to be a PhD in something. The sun, though, later in the week trine Mars. This is happening in your 9th house to your 1st house. So this is you gaining clarity, maybe, but this is you definitely, because Mars rules you, and Mars is now direct and moving forward, and the sun coming into a trine. This can be someone coming in from either outside or from an institution or from a foreign country, or someone that is foreign to you that is coming in to help you out physically in a way that's going to benefit you, So this is definitely something that you want to take action on. This could even be you taking action to help somebody that lives far away from you, and making sure that their needs and wants are taken care of as well. So that's kind of what's going on for Aries and for Aries rising. For Taurus and for Taurus rising, the Sun square Neptune is happening from your 8th to your 11th house. So for Taurus people, this can be the sun, the sun is in your 8th house. It's illuminating, your taxes. We're not in tax season right now, but if you're late with your taxes, or this can be inheritances, money coming in from, great Aunt Sue that passed away, 4 years ago, and the estate is finally being settled and you're getting something out of it. This could be your partner's resources. There's something happening with your partner's resources, and or you oh yeah, the square. Oh. The sun in the 8th house by itself is not a bad thing, but the sun square Neptune from the 8th to the 11th. Do not borrow money from your friends. Do not. I'm telling you right now, Taurus people, do not borrow money. Do not lend money to friends, because it will very much backfire and not be what you expect it, and you don't have all the information that you need to make a sound decision on pulling the trigger with monetary influence. Do not take a loan out with your friends, because 8th house is also seen as loans from financial institutions. 11th house is friends. Do not sign on the dotted line with a friend to take money out from a bank. That will backfire as well. Just be aware and be cognizant that you, if you're selling your house, because Leo rules, the sun rules Leo. Leo is your 4th house, sun in the 8th house, the ruler of the 4th in the 8th. If you are buying or selling a house, be cognizant that, if you're buying it with a group of friends or a timeshare or anything like that, be careful. I would say definitely, if you can, wait until next week or the week after. Really wait until we're out of eclipse season, and wait until the sun moves out of Sagittarius. That's what I would say. Wait until Capricorn season, when the sun is in a much more practical, pragmatic, structured sign, and is willing to do the work to get things done. I would say wait until Capricorn season to really do anything with buying or selling or anything like that, and signing on the dotted line, because there could be issues that you're not aware of. Later on in the week, however, with the sun trine Mars, this is happening from your 8th house to your 12th house. So if it's the sun square Neptune earlier in the week to the sun trine Mars later in the week, if this is something that has to do with someone's estate and passing away and whatnot, you will get an understanding. There will be a finality to it. There will be a payout coming. It might not come right now, but it's you can take action on being allowed that money and whatnot from that inheritance, because Mars is in the 12th house. So there could have been arguments and disputes and whatnot with it, but now it's going to get settled out and be done. Like, the 12th house is endings. So I would definitely say, also, if you're a Taurus rising and you're doing something with retreats, you're doing something with online yoga, you're doing something with online, like an online retreat, online spiritual thing. I don't really know what people do online anymore, because so many things are done online. But if it has more of that spiritual, ephemeral kind of connotation to it, then I would say that that's definitely a good thing that you can do this week, is get that sorted through, especially when the sun comes into that trine with Mars, because this means that you're taking action on it. And I think that would be good for Taurus people, because there's a sense of, as the sun separates from that square to Neptune and moving into the trine with Mars, there's definitely some very decisive things that can happen for you. So for Gemini and for Gemini rising, the sun square Neptune is happening from your 7th to your 10th house. So this is your energy, focus, whatnot, relationships, and your 10th house of career and public reputation, your social standing, how people see you out in the world, in your career, right? This can be a little foggy this week, especially because the sun is in Sagittarius. This is your 7th house of relationships, and so there's been a focus on relationships since the sun moved into Sag, but there's definitely, with the sun hitting that south node this week, this could be something very fated, something very karmic, especially even with that square to Neptune. This can be something that is coming in from the past that you need to wrap up, that you need to finalize, that you need to finish. And it can feel like you may not have all of the information yet, but then later on in the week when the sun trines Mars, you can get clarity and understanding from your social networks, because Mars is in your 11th house right now, and this can definitely see you being very decisive, or a friend coming in or someone over the internet coming in being very clear, very concise, and very, this is what you need to do to get this done, and be done with it and move away from it, finalize things and walk away. Or it's like that karmic knot that needs to be either undone and separated, or it needs to be finalized, tied up, and ties need to be cut and done, right? So that's for Gemini and for Gemini rising. For Cancer and for Cancer rising, the sun square Neptune is happening from your 6th to your 9th house. So this is like your daily routines. This is your health. This is your, how you show up in service. This is your coworkers or your colleagues. These are your subordinates, if you have anyone that's under you. If you're if you're a Cancer rising or sun or whatever, and you have employees under you, this can definitely see issues, either with their health or with yours. Maybe the sun squaring Neptune in your 6th to your 9th. This is a little bit of fogginess and confusion as to where things are going or where people stand at your work, or what's going on at work. Could be a little, you don't know if you're changing jobs, you don't know if you're moving locations, you don't know if there's a little bit of fogginess and confusion that needs to be sorted out. And when the sun moves off of that square to Neptune, of like that big picture mentality of the things that you want to do or accomplish, and moves into that trine with Mars in your 10th house, this is you taking action, or even a boss coming in and saying, okay, this is what needs to happen, this is what I need you to do, and be very decisive about it, and right, like I don't know, like, this is what I want to do, like, it's like, get it done, this is what we need to do, you have your action plan, move forward, do it. And that's what that tells me for this energy. So this is being very decisive about your daily routines, very decisive about what's going on in your career. This is your 6th and your 10th house with the sun trine Mars. And so this flow of energy is really good for you, because it can see you being very decisive with what it is that you need to do to get your health in order, to get your vitality and your routines down, so that way you can focus on what's going on in that 10th house. or focusing on what's happening in that 10th house and either changing something, being decisive about it, and your health and wellness is going to be affected because of it too. So for Leo and for Leo rising, with the Sun square Neptune, this is happening in your 5th and in your 8th house. So there could be something going on, Leo, with your kids, with your hobbies, with kids' hobbies, you know, your romantic partnerships, and money. Okay, so maybe there's something going on where you have to shell out some money for your kids, or you have to give your kids money, you have to help them monetarily some way, and you're not really sure as to, you know, why it is you need to help them or how much you need to help them. It's very foggy, it's very confusing. It's, you know, it could be if your kids are grown and they're coming to you for money, you could be a little hesitant to loan them money because you're not really understanding why you need to loan them money. Like, what happened to your money? You have a job. You're still working. You're working from home. Why do you need money? This could also be, I mean, if you are a Leo, you know, parent and you're separated from the other parent, this could be a little bit of fogginess or confusion as to what's going on with the kids or kid or child, you know, if that's applicable. This could see the other person wanting to get money, you know what I mean, from you, and making you pay for things that you wouldn't necessarily or shouldn't necessarily pay for. There could be arguments and disputes around children or around the finances around children, and what you need to do with that. The Sun moving into a trine with Mars in your 9th house means that there's going to be something, you know, if it does have to do with your kids, there could be an institution, there could be another parental figure, either, you know, one of your parents even, because 9th house in certain forms of astrology is the father. But if it's not that, this is a teacher, maybe a child's teacher, or this is an institution, you know, an established institution, or maybe you need education to help your child at home. Like maybe if you need a teacher to teach you to teach your child, if that's applicable. But there's definitely a lot to do with either children or even romantic partnerships. Like maybe there's something really confusing about a romantic partnership and money. And then, you know, there's arguments or disputes around money to do with a love relationship, that type of thing. And then, you know, maybe your romantic partner or lover decides that they want to go back to school, something like that. Or maybe you want to go back to school. So for Virgo and for Virgo rising, the Sun square Neptune is happening from your 4th to your 7th. And so the Sun is down in your 4th house. You're very focused on your home, your family, your property. This could be either you focusing on your mom or something to do with your mom. And the 7th house could see, you know, relationships, either your mom's relationship or your relationship with your mom. Could have some issues going on with it, arguments or disputes, you know, or maybe you're working on something to do with the home, like maybe you're doing some home renovations, or there's something to do with property that you need to get done, but it's really confusing right now as to truly what it is that you need to do or what needs to be done, or there's an inability to be able to get done what needs to get done because you don't have all the information that you need. And later on in the week, when the Sun comes into that trine with Mars, this could maybe see you reaching out to a financial institution, or this could see an inheritance of some kind coming in to help with that 4th house, whether or not it's doing home renovations or you're moving, or, you know, the contractual agreement is up, or there's maybe someone moving in with you and you have to draw up a contract real quick for a rental agreement or something like that. So that's, that's something that can happen. Definitely to do with the home, the property, the family, especially, and then the contractual obligations and the money that goes on with that property. So maybe there's something that needs to get finalized, especially with, the sun coming into that conjunction also this week with the South Node, and, tying up those loose ends and just putting it to bed for good and being done with it and being done, maybe even just finalizing the renovations and just being done with it. And moving into your new house, something like that. Or selling your old house, right? Something like that. It could definitely be for Virgos. For Libras, the Sun square Neptune is happening in your 3rd house and in your 6th house. Sorry, my voice is going dry. My throat's going dry. So the Sun square Neptune, 3rd and the 6th. This can see, Libra, just be careful traveling within your community, or be careful with the people in your community, because what's going on with them could adversely affect your health, or there could be some arguments or disputes surrounding your community and your daily routine. This could be, your vehicle. So be careful. It's Neptune. It's going to be confusing. Maybe you get into a fender bender and it really disrupts your travel to and from work, and you're really confused as to how the hell it happened, because it's like this just happened out of nowhere. Or there could be confusion surrounding communication to do with your work, to do with your job, or to do with a subordinate that works for you. This could be, unintentionally or intentionally, someone that works for you is deceiving you. And, speaking, that's that 3rd house of communicating. Maybe they're not being honest truly with you about what it is that they're going to be doing or not doing. However, later on in the week, the sun is going to come into that really nice trine with Mars, and this is happening from your 3rd to your 7th. So there could be maybe there's some confusion around wanting to partner with someone that works for you instead of them just being an employee. Maybe you're going to sign a contract with them. And so there's a little bit of back and forth, and there's a little bit of confusion as to whether or not that's going to happen. But then as the sun comes into that trine with Mars, it cuts through that BS. And this person is like, yep, this is what I want to do. Or, yep, you know what? This is not what I envision for my future. So good luck. It could happen both ways, because Mars can finalize and cut things out of your life, or it can be action oriented to finalize and get the thing done, right? It's that active energy. And this is your 7th house of contractual relationships. Maybe there's something going on with your health and you need health insurance, but insurance is more 8th house thing, so maybe not. But the health thing is definitely a thing for Libras right now, or your routine even. Like maybe there's confusion as to what's going to go on or how things are going to be structured, but later in the week you'll get that nice trine to Mars and be decisive and know this is how it's going to be, this is what's happening. And making that decisive choice of this is how I want things to be. So for Scorpio and for Scorpio rising, the Sun square Neptune is happening from your 2nd to your 5th house. And so this can see the sun is in your 2nd house. Like this is lighting up your finances. This is lighting up how you make your money. This is lighting up, what it is that you are doing to make money, or your possessions in the world. Maybe there's something that you really want to buy, but there's some type of fogginess, some type of confusion, some type of maybe issue surrounding either a child or, you know, a hobby. Maybe you want to spend some money on a hobby and it's really unclear as to whether or not you should, or whether or not there's enough money. But I mean, the sun is lighting up your second house, so this could see you working, and maybe there's a little bit of confusion as to what's going to happen with the kids, because maybe you just got a new job and you have kids and now you don't really know what to do with them, and there's something that needs to happen. But later in the week, with the sun coming into a trine with Mars in your sixth house, this could see you, I mean, especially because you're Mars ruled, right? That's one of your rulers, is in your sixth house. The sun comes into a trine with your sixth house, and you're very decisive and action oriented about what it is that you are going to do and what your routine is going to be and how you are going to use your finances to, either hire a nanny, possibly, for that fifth house, because this is making aspect, you know, it's two different parts of your chart, but it's kind of flowing in the same week. And it seems like whatever happens earlier in the week with that Neptune square is going to affect that sixth house, but that sixth house is going to be very decisive and you're going to take action on it. So this could even see you hiring someone for your business, because it is your second house. The sun is in your second house and your sixth house is employees. But this is also your health and your wellness. Maybe, you know, you have to put some money into, to get some type of health regimen in, like maybe you need different vitamins, or maybe you need, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Not vitamins, but like you need different nutrients in your body to be able to, so you have to pay for that, right? You have to pay for the health. This could see, like I said, this could see employees. This could see, yeah. Oh. So, yeah. So this is very much about your finances this week, about how you make your money and your personal money and what you need to do with it, to be able to clear up that fogginess around that fifth house, and being very decisive about whether or not you truly need or want to hire someone to work with you for your business, because these are both money houses. This is how you make your money, and this is, also like your employees, if you have any. So maybe, if you are a manager and you have subordinates underneath you, you need to decide who to cut or who to keep, because this Mars can take people out, like cut people. It's, you know, it's a very decisive energy, and you know, Mars rules knives. What do knives do? Knives cut. So it's very decisive, and it's very much, you need to decide who to keep and who to let go going forward, because of, you know, everything that's happened throughout the year. It's not like it's anything new. This is just a continuation of, you know, what has been happening throughout the year. And so now, you know, bottom dollar affected by employees. So for Sagittarius and for Sagittarius rising, the sun is in your sign, Sagittarius. So happy birthday, Sagittarians. And if this is your sun sign, if this is your rising sign, well, still, you know, happy sun through the ascendant, because it's still a thing. And if this is your moon, this is your internal world. This is where, you know, the sun's going to light that up for you. So yeah, happy birthday, Saggies. So the sun square Neptune is happening from your first house to your fourth house. So this is kind of, it's very similar energy. So maybe something's happening at home behind the scenes that's really confusing. Like maybe you've been renovating your house, or you have been trying to purchase a house, or you've been trying to sell a house, and there's just all this fogginess, all this confusion about it, and you just don't understand what the hell is going on, when it's going to be done, when it's going to be finalized. There's just this fogginess, this confusion. Maybe like you just you just don't really know what to do with your home, because maybe something breaks, or maybe you've just been locked up so tight in lockdown that you just don't know what to do. Now with the sun moving into a trine with Mars later in the week, this is your first house to your fifth house. So there's a creative way that you can solve this problem. And it's very much going to be a very decisive moment for you. This can either be a lover, this can be a child if you have children. Maybe like your child says something really completely off the wall and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, that's actually what I need to do. Something like that. Fifth house is also hobbies, so the things that you love to do. So maybe doing, staying at home is not something you love to do, but you find something to do to make sure that you love staying home and love doing what you're doing, because you can't do anything anyway. There is that. Or maybe you're able to make that fogginess and confusion, on the home front a little less foggy and confusing by a creative outlet that you need to do. So you can cut through the BS and, maybe you take up a hobby, because this is the sun and the sun is with the south node. This is also you. So maybe this is you taking up a hobby from the past and being able to take action on it, to maybe, later on do a business with it, right? Like it's something like that that's going on for Saggies. So it is some home front energy, but it's maybe being creative to be able to solve that home front issue. So for Capricorn and for Capricorn rising, the Sun square Neptune is happening in your 12th and your 3rd house. So yeah, Capricorn. Sorry, Capricorn. So, the sun in your 12th house, this is definitely lighting up where it is that you have some addictions to finalize and let go of, because the sun is with the south node here. The south node is in your 12th house right now. And so this is you finalizing something from the past and being able to speak about it moving forward. But with Neptune, Neptune rules your 3rd house anyway, because it is Pisces. But, this is maybe there's a little bit of fogginess and confusion. I mean, this could show up as something physical too. Like this could be maybe you have to go to the hospital because something happens with your throat or with your, with your speaking. Maybe like, it's, anyway, it's speaking and communicating. So maybe something happens, maybe you lose your voice and you have to pull away from the world a little bit. But this could be also, 3rd house is also vehicles and community. This is siblings. So maybe there's something going on with one of your siblings that they themselves are falling prey to some type of addiction pattern that they, 12th house is addictions. 12th house is prisons, hospitals, retreat centers. This is where you go to be away from the world. This is like solitude and seclusion and like solitary confinement, you know what I mean? So this is maybe one of your siblings pulls away from the world and you really need to get in touch with them. Later on in the week, when the sun comes into a trine with Mars, there could definitely be some decisive action that needs to be taken on the home front, maybe to do with that sibling or that cousin or that other person that was causing issues earlier in the week. Or maybe this is, this is you getting clarity about what went on because it's, you know, things flow, right? Like you got to look at it where it's not just one thing happening. The sun is highlighting your 12th house. It's shining light there. It's bringing, you know, it's bringing your energy there, because the sun is our energy. The sun is, you know, lights up everything. It's what gives us life. So there is definitely something going on with that 12th house, and some confusion happening with communicating. And maybe, you know, you talk to your parents about what's going on with your brother or your sister or your cousin, and you get clarity as to what's happening, because Mars can cut through any kind of BS that's happening, and you can really understand what's going on and understand, you know, why things happen the way they happened, and that 12th house kind of energy is going on. You know, maybe you've had to pull yourself out of, you know, out of the world, and you're either in lockdown or you have to quarantine or something like that, and you're not able to do the things that you want to do with the community that you're in, or maybe the community that you're in gets locked down. And so there's something later on in the week that's very that's in the 4th house for you, that's going to offer that clarity as to what needs to happen going forward to change, you know, sunshine Mars, that 12th house. Like, you're in lockdown, you don't really understand, your community is in lockdown, you really don't get it, you don't understand why, because the cases aren't rising or anything there. But then when you're at home, you get it, you understand what's going on, because you have that clarity of, okay, yeah, this is really truly what's going on. So that's for Capricorn. For Aquarius and Aquarius rising, the sun is in your 11th house, Aquarius. This is fun for you. This is the internet. This is your social circles. This is your friends. This is who you surround yourself with by choice, the organizations. This is humanitarian efforts. And so maybe this sun square Neptune, you could see either your friends asking this. So the square to Neptune is not necessarily the greatest, because, you know, this could maybe see a friend asking to get money from you, or maybe you need money from that social group, but there's a little bit of confusion, there's a little bit of fogginess, there could be deceptions or lies, like maybe, you know, one of your friends promised you something, or, you know, someone made a grandiose thing, sun in Sagittarius, grandiose, right? So maybe there's something going on with your groups of friends that requires some monetary influence from your end. And then later on in the week, though, when the sun comes into a nice trine with Mars, it's you being vocalizing, right? Because this is your 3rd house. This is you vocalizing what it is that you want, what it is that you need, what it is that you desire. And you can talk to whoever this is in your 11th house, your social circles, your friends. Maybe it's a single friend, or maybe it's a bunch of friends. Like, you're able to talk to people about what's going on with that 2nd house, like how it is that you're making your money, and what it is that went on there in that 2nd house when, you know, with the sun squaring Neptune. So it could definitely solve some problems if you just speak about it, be very decisive, be very, you know, this is how it is, and, you know, it's an easier flow of energy of being able to talk about it, and being able to tie up those loose ends, and, you know, cut the cords that that bind on that. Okay. So for Pisces and for Pisces rising, so the sun square Neptune is happening in your 10th and in your 1st house. So Neptune has been traversing, you know, your ascendant, your sun, your moon, you know, for the last several years, since, you know, 2012. And the sun coming in and squaring has happened every year. You know, with everything that's going on, though, it's a little bit of a different thing this year. You know, just because of all the different energies in Capricorn. So with, you know, the sun up in your 10th house, you're really focused on your career, on your social status, on, you know, how it is and what you're known for out in the world. And there could be some fogginess and some confusion as to who you truly are as a person, and how people see you, and how people understand you yourself. With the sun coming later on in the week into a trine with Mars into your second house, like Mars is in your second house, Mars has been in your second house, but the sun is offering support from that 10th to that second. So maybe how it is that you're known out in the world now is going to change. You know, there's a little bit of fogginess and confusion as to you yourself, but when Mars comes into that trine, you know, it could be a very decisive thing where you are going to get a new career, or you are going to finalize something, you know, with that sun up in the 10th house, something from the past comes back. There's an opportunity here. Mars in your second house is very decisive. Yes, this is what I need to do. This is what needs to happen with my money. This is, you know, this is what I want to do long term. And the finances are going to take either a hit, right, where you're going to lose out on something, because it can go one of two ways, or you are going to gain something, right? So this is being very decisive about it. So the sun trine Mars, this is a very easy flow of energy. You could be deciding to cut something out of, you know, what it is that you're doing out in the world, and this, you know, the bottom line this has on your finances, and so it's a conscious choice as to whether or not you want to end it or you want to begin something new and change something, right? So it's very decisive energy, and it's really good for you. There's still going to be that fogginess and confusion around you yourself and your physical self, but otherwise it's going to be very decisive with what it is that you're doing out in the world and your finances. There's a very decisive energy there. So that's for Pisces and for Pisces rising. So I hope you enjoyed this forecast, and like, share, subscribe. All right. Have a good week. Bye, everyone.